Time to shine the spotlight on the New York Jets, a team defined by one historic guarantee, a single Super Bowl triumph, and more heartbreak than their passionate fans can count. From Joe Namath's iconic victory in 1969 to the butt fumble and decades of disappointment, the Jets remain one of football's most enduring enigmas. But here's the question. Can this franchise ever turn its history of heartbreak into a long-awaited return to glory? You're watching Spotlight Stories NFL, where every team has a story and we put them under the spotlight. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. The New York Jets trace their origins back to 1959, when they were established as one of the original 8 franchises of the American Football League. Known initially as the Titans of New York, the team played its first 3 seasons at the Polo Grounds in Manhattan. The Titans struggled financially and on the field, going 19-23 in their first 3 years until the franchise was purchased by Sonny Werblin and a group of investors in 1963. With new ownership came a new identity. The team was rebranded as the New York Jets, a name chosen to evoke the jet age of the 1960s and the nearby proximity to LaGuardia Airport. That same year, the Jets moved to Shea Stadium in Queens, where they would play for the next 2 decades. The Jets' defining moment came in 1969 when they won Super Bowl III, led by charismatic quarterback Joe Namath, who famously guaranteed victory over the heavily favored Baltimore Colts. The Jets pulled off one of the biggest upsets in sports history with a 16-7 win. Namath's swagger and leadership not only cemented the Jets' lone Super Bowl title, but also validated the AFL as a true competitor to the NFL, paving the way for the AFL-NFL merger. That victory remains the franchise's greatest triumph and the standard by which all future Jets teams have been measured. After their Super Bowl win, however, the Jets endured decades of frustration. Namath's career was shortened by injuries, and the team often found itself mired in mediocrity. Despite passionate fans and a New York stage, postseason success was elusive. Since 1969, the Jets have appeared in the AFC Championship game just 4 times in 1982, 1998, 2009, and 2010. But they have never returned to the Super Bowl. The 1980s brought a resurgence under defensive coordinator Joe Walton and the emergence of the New York Sack Exchange, a dominant defensive line featuring Mark Gastineau, Joe Klecko, Marty Lyons, and Abdul Salam. Their relentless pass rush helped the Jets make the playoffs in 1981 and 1982, with Gastineau setting an NFL record for sacks in a season in 1984. The late 1990s under head coach Bill Parcells and running back Curtis Martin offered another brief golden period. In 1998, the Jets went 12-4 and advanced to the AFC Championship game. Though they fell short to John Elway's Denver Broncos, Parcells' tenure restored respectability to the franchise, and Martin went on to become the Jets' all-time leading rusher and a Hall of Famer. In the late 2000s, the Jets once again flirted with greatness under head coach Rex Ryan, fielding one of the NFL's best defenses led by Darrelle Revis. Revis Island became legendary as he shut down the league's top receivers, and the Jets reached back-to-back AFC Championship games in 2009 and 2010. Despite upsetting the Patriots in Foxborough during the 2010 playoffs, the team once again fell one step short of the Super Bowl. In recent years, the Jets have become a symbol of frustration and rebuilds gone wrong. Draft missteps at quarterback from Mark Sanchez to Geno Smith, Christian Hackenberg, and Sam Darnold have kept the team from finding long-term stability. The infamous butt fumble in 2012 became a viral symbol of the franchise's dysfunction. Despite this, the fan base remains fiercely loyal, rallying around the team's potential and star players like Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. Today, the Jets are once again trying to change their narrative. The 2023 trade for Aaron Rodgers was seen as a win-now move, but his season-ending injury on opening night symbolized the team's ongoing misfortune. Still, the pieces are there: an elite defense, young offensive talent, and a city that desperately craves another championship run. Fun fact number 1, did you know the Jets were almost called the Burrows? When new ownership rebranded the Titans in 1963, one of the finalist names was the New York Burrows, to reflect the 5 boroughs of NYC. They ultimately chose Jets to match the jet age, LaGuardia Airport nearby, and the team's move to Shea Stadium, next to LaGuardia's flight paths. The Jets' identity has always been tied to their bold green and white color scheme. But over the decades, the team has gone through several redesigns that reflect different eras in franchise history. When the franchise rebranded from the Titans of New York to the Jets in 1963, they introduced the classic green and white uniforms that would become their signature. The original logo was a green football-shaped oval with the word Jets in white block letters, a small silhouette of a jet airplane above it, and NY tucked inside. That look carried them through the Namath era and their historic Super Bowl III win, creating the timeless image that many fans still associate with the franchise's glory days. In 1978, the Jets introduced a major redesign, moving to a bold, slanted Jets wordmark logo with a jet wing extending from the J. Helmets were switched from white to green, and the overall design reflected a modern, fast-paced image. That swoosh-style logo defined the franchise throughout the 1980s during the days of the New York Sack Exchange defensive line. In 1998, coinciding with Bill Parcells taking over as head coach, the team returned to a retro-inspired look. The helmet went back to white with a green oval logo that paid homage to the original Namath-era design. This throwback modernization was symbolic of Parcells' goal to restore credibility to the franchise, and the uniforms became iconic again during Curtis Martin's Hall of Fame career. The Jets' most recent overhaul came in 2019 when they unveiled their Take Flight uniforms. The new primary color, dubbed Gotham Green, was brighter than the old shade, and a new sleek wordmark logo replaced the oval. The team introduced black alternates and green chrome helmets, aiming for a modern, youthful appeal. Reception was mixed at first, but the bold look has become tied to the current Jets era, especially with the arrival of stars like Sauce Gardner. As for stadiums, the Jets' history is just as colorful. The team began at the Polo Grounds in Manhattan, a decaying baseball stadium that was a poor fit for football. In 1964, they moved to Shea Stadium in Queens, where Joe Namath and the Super Bowl team played their home games. Shea was cramped and often torn up by baseball season, but it was the setting for the Jets' golden era. In 1984, the team moved across the Hudson River to Giants Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Sharing a stadium with their crosstown rivals, the New York Giants, was controversial with the fan base, many of whom felt the Jets lost their distinct New York identity. Still, Giants Stadium hosted decades of Jets history, including playoff runs in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Today, the Jets play in MetLife Stadium, which opened in 2010. Also shared with the Giants, MetLife is the NFL's largest stadium, seating over 82,000 fans. Though sleek and modern, it has often been criticized for lacking character compared to other NFL venues. Many fans still dream of the Jets having their own stadium back in New York proper. From the classic Namath-era whites at Shea to the bold green chrome helmets of today, and from the Polo Grounds to MetLife Stadium, the Jets' uniforms and homes tell the story of a franchise constantly trying to balance tradition with modern reinvention, and a fan base desperate for the glory of another championship moment. Fun fact number 2, did you know the Jets once played in a baseball-only stadium with no lights? In their inaugural season as the Titans of New York, 1960, the team played at the Polo Grounds, a crumbling baseball park that had no working lights. That meant some games had to start unusually early to finish before sunset. The franchise's greatest moment remains Super Bowl III, when Joe Namath backed up his bold guarantee with a stunning victory over the Baltimore Colts. That game changed the course of NFL history, legitimizing the AFL and ensuring the success of the upcoming merger. The Jets' next great era came in the 1980s under head coach Joe Walton, when players like Mark Gastineau and the New York Sack Exchange dominated opposing quarterbacks. Gastineau, Marty Lyons, Abdul Salam, and Joe Klecko became one of the most feared defensive lines in football, and Klecko would eventually earn a spot in the Hall of Fame. The late 1990s brought new hope under head coach Bill Parcells, who led the Jets to the 1998 AFC Championship game behind quarterback Vinny Testaverde and running back Curtis Martin. Though they fell short against the Broncos, it was one of the franchise's best seasons since Namath's era. In the 2000s, Chad Pennington briefly energized the franchise, and in the late 2000s and early 2000s, head coach Rex Ryan built a bruising defense led by Darrelle Revis. Revis Island became a nightmare for opposing receivers, and the Jets reached back-to-back AFC Championship games in 2009 and 2010, though they lost both. Fun fact number 3, did you know the Jets were the first AFL team to sign a $1 million player? In 1965, the Jets shocked the football world by signing quarterback Joe Namath to a then-record $427,000 contract worth over $4 million today. It was the richest deal in pro football at the time, and Namath chose the Jets over the NFL's St. Louis Cardinals, giving the AFL instant credibility. Jets fans know heartbreak all too well. After their Super Bowl III triumph, the team fell into decades of mediocrity. Injuries to Joe Namath derailed the 1970s, and the franchise spent years searching for stability at quarterback. The team's reputation for misfortune was cemented in 2012 during a Thanksgiving game against the Patriots when quarterback Mark Sanchez's infamous butt fumble became a viral symbol of the Jets' dysfunction. Draft disappointments have also haunted the franchise, from passing on Dan Marino in 1983 to a revolving door of failed quarterback picks, including Browning Nagel, Christian Hackenberg, and Sam Darnold. Despite moments of promise, the Jets have often found themselves as the punchline of NFL jokes, with their last Super Bowl appearance more than 5 decades in the past. Fun fact number 3. Did you know the Jets were the first team to lose a Monday Night Football game? The NFL launched Monday Night Football in 1970, and in the very first broadcast, the Jets played the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland won 31-21, making the Jets the first team ever to lose on Monday Night Football. The Jets' most iconic figure remains Joe Namath, the Hall of Fame quarterback whose swagger, style, and Super Bowl guarantee made him one of the NFL's first true superstars. Alongside Namath, receiver Don Maynard, a Hall of Famer with sure hands and deep speed, was critical to the Jets' early success. The 1980s defense produced stars like Mark Gastineau and Joe Klecko, whose dominance on the defensive line made the Jets competitive again. In the backfield, Curtis Martin, acquired from the Patriots in 1998, became the franchise's all-time leading rusher and a Hall of Famer thanks to his consistency and toughness. More modern legends include Darrelle Revis, one of the greatest shutdown cornerbacks in NFL history, whose Revis Island nickname became synonymous with defensive dominance. Nick Mangold, Kevin Mawae, and DeBrickashaw Ferguson also anchored some of the league's best offensive lines in the 2000s and the 2010s. Fun fact number 5. Did you know the Jets once played in the longest overtime game in NFL history? On December 25, 1971, the Jets faced the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional playoffs. The game went 82 minutes and 40 seconds of total playing time, with the Chiefs eventually winning 27-24 on a John Stenerud field goal. It remains the longest game in NFL history, and it marked the last game ever played at Kansas City's Municipal Stadium. The Jets' coaching history is filled with big names and big letdowns. Weeb Ewbank was the franchise's first great coach, guiding them to their lone Super Bowl title in 1969. After him, consistency was hard to find. Joe Walton in the 1980s and Bill Parcells in the 1990s delivered playoff runs but no championships. The most memorable modern coach was Rex Ryan, whose brash personality fit perfectly in New York. Ryan built one of the NFL's best defenses and took the Jets to 2 AFC championship games, but fell short of the Super Bowl both times. Since Ryan's departure, coaches like Todd Bowles, Adam Gase, and Robert Saleh have struggled to restore the franchise to relevance. The Jets entered the 2025 NFL Draft with 8 picks and used them to fill critical needs across their roster. With their first-round selection at number 7 overall, New York targeted the trenches, drafting Armand Membu, a massive and athletic offensive tackle out of Missouri who is expected to step in immediately and help protect the quarterback. In the second round at pick 42, the Jets gave their passing game a boost with Mason Taylor, a tight end from LSU, known for his reliable hands and versatility. The team turned its attention to the secondary in the third round, taking Azariah Thomas, a cornerback from Florida State, with size and ball skills to develop into a future starter. Day 3 brought even more reinforcements. In the fourth round, New York doubled up with 2 selections. Arian Smith, a speedy wide receiver from Georgia who brings vertical explosiveness, and Malachi Moore, a safety from Alabama who adds depth and leadership to the back end of the defense. In the fifth round, the Jets continued to build their defense with Francisco Mauigoa, a linebacker from Miami known for his range and tackling, and later traded up to grab Tyler Barron, an edge rusher from Miami, who projects as a rotational pass rusher with upside. While the Jets didn't have picks in the 6th or 7th rounds, their 2025 draft class was praised for balance and value. Membu gives the offensive line a cornerstone. Taylor and Smith add more weapons for the passing attack, and Thomas, Moore, Mauigoa, and Barron strengthen a defense that was already one of the team's biggest strengths. Analysts agreed that New York walked away with a class that fits both immediate needs and long-term development. From Joe Namath's guarantee to decades of heartbreak, from Curtis Martin's consistency to Revis Island's dominance, the Jets' history is one of highs, lows, and unshakable passion. Their fans have endured more than their share of pain, but they've never lost hope. The question now is simple. Will this era finally bring the Jets back to the Super Bowl for the first time since 1969? Or will their reputation for heartbreak continue? Don't forget to like and subscribe to Spotlight Stories NFL, where every team has a story and we put them under the spotlight.